Hi, sweeties. How are you doing? Welcome to Naya Singh. Thank you so much for the support. Hope you all are doing great. So, this man you are saying that is all kitted up, I want you to know that this man is from Texas and he is actually trying to vie for a position in Texas. This is for my Texas people. If you see someone like this, do make sure you do not vote for him. Then I am going to give you a rundown. This man is one of the people that tried organizing a military from jail. And I want you to know that he is also uh, a product of January 6th that was actually in prison. He was in jail, right? And Agent Orange came out and pardoned him. Now he is out and moving freely and also coming out to vie for a position in Texas. Texas people, please take note, right? Now, this man is looking for a way to use what happened between Carmelo Anthony and Austin to for his own political agenda. Because now he is calling Austin's father to tell him that if you keep quiet over what happened, over what Carmelo Anthony did, that you are playing with your son's blood. That this is the right time for you to come out and rise up and show the other people that look like me, that you are the real king. Now, this is somebody that is not even supposed to be living among us. This man is actually supposed to be in prison. But heaven knows what. Your president, Agent Orange, came out and pardoned him. But you know what? Let's get into this video.
Before I head out to start my day, I wanted to come in and briefly talk about this viral news story. Hey y'all, my name is Tabitha. If you've come across this video and are not subscribed to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. If you come across this video out there on my social media pages, please make sure you hit that follow button. I am trying to get to 500,000 subscribers on each and every one of my social media pages. That would be YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Blue Sky, Starlight, and Threads. There's this viral news story going around, and it's regarding the case with Carmelo Anthony and with Austin Metcalf. Yeah, here's a news story about it if you have not heard about this case.
I want to clarify something right off the start because I've already heard some rumors and some gossip. This was not a race thing, and this is not a political thing.
That's the father of Frisco stabbing victim Austin Metcalf. He pleaded on national television for his family's tragedy, the loss of their son, not to be turned into a race or a political issue. The sad reality is that appears to be exactly what has happened. Amid a surge of misinformation and false claims, the story has taken on a life of its own online. Tonight, our I-Team reporter Brian New with who is behind some of these social media posts, including one political candidate who is calling for a protest this weekend in Frisco.
From the very beginning, people far from Texas have amplified this story on social media, often injecting misinformation to push false narratives. This has come from individuals claiming to support Austin Metcalf, as well as those claiming to support Carmelo Anthony, despite having no connection to the families or the community. This week, a flyer has been circulating online to promote a protest. The flyer uses a picture of Metcalf with the banner reading, "Protect White Americans." If you look at the initial flyer, it misspelled Frisco. It also got the name of a local high school wrong and incorrectly claimed this is where the stabbing took place. It did not. The latest version of the flyer now shows a new location for the protest. This flyer has now been shared by dozens of high-profile social media accounts. This one post received 5.3 million views. The organizer of the protest, according to the flyer, is this man, Jake Lang. Lang was charged with attacking police at the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. He was pardoned earlier this year by President Trump. Lang is now running for U.S. Senate in Florida. The Frisco Police Department said it is aware of the scheduled protest and put out this statement yesterday, saying officers will be on hand to ensure the safety of the public while allowing the protesters to exercise their First Amendment rights in a peaceful manner. With the I-Team, Brian New, CBS News, Texas.
This is what happens when MAGA nuts who stormed the Capitol have been freed to not serve out their full sentence. No repercussions and no serious accountability often leads to repeated criminal behavior. Look at Donald Trump. That protect white Americans protest, based on what people are saying out there on social media, maybe 10 people at the most attended that protest. And yes, there were counter protesters there as well. But while at this protest, that January 6er, that insurrectionist who's running for Senate, he made a telephone call to the father of Austin Metcalf, the victim in this case, the victim in this case. And this is the conversation, part of the conversation that took place.
Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive today. Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
But my son, let me finish. I give you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
Here, you are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
That's the problem. You've been submitted.
Hold on, hey, Jeff.
You've been submitted.
I'll handle it from here.
You've been submitted, sir.
You're not gonna make
If we were all of your nature,
guys, listen.
you're not gonna say
what
what a weak
do
man.
you know who you're talking to? You don't, do you?
I'm talking to a black man.
You don't. No, you're not.
Okay.
You sit here, you talk about Trump.
But I am. You're not
Google my name and Trump. No. When you do that, my name is.
I agree with black males winning,
Google that.
but they're not winning right now.
What you're doing,
they're becoming
what
degenerates.
you're doing,
and murdering white
you're
people.
not helping America. You're no more patriotic than I am. No way.
Where were you on January 6th?
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you on January 6th?
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you? Did you stand for your country
So you
when
think
they
that
stole our
made you
vote?
patriot because you showed up there? Does that make you a patriot?
Joe Biden.
You don't. No, you're not.
Okay.
You sit here, you talk about Trump.
But I am. You're not
Google my name and Trump. No. When you do that, my name is.
I agree with black males winning,
Google that.
but they're not winning right now.
You're doing,
they're becoming degenerates.
What you're doing,
White
you're
people.
not helping America. You're no more patriotic than I am. No way.
Where were you on January 6th?
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you on January 6th?
You've been silent. It's only gotten worse.
Where were you? Did you stand for your country
So you
when they
think that
stole our
made you
vote?
patriot because you showed up there? Does that make you a patriot?
Joe Biden
is
all you're doing is condemning us. What's your
My
solution?
solution is to help people where they're weak. So we have an issue in young black males' lives across the country.
It's not
It doesn't
say that
matter.
to Jeff Metcalf. Say that to Jeff Metcalf.
We talk about it, man.
Say it.
At the end of the day, the man is asking. So let me ask you this: you got a father who's grieving, and your response is he's weak.
My father is celebrating my strength right now.
You have no idea. You'll never win the Senate. And what I'll do, I'll come to Florida and run for Senate and run as a Republican, and I'll kick your butt.
No, you lose, bro.
I didn't see the extended clip. I found the extended clip over on TikTok. When I first saw this, it was just the telephone call that I saw. So let me get this straight. The January 6er that's running for Senate called the victim's father and wants to use the victim's father to further his racist, violent narrative. Okay? And when I saw the clip, my question was originally, what's the relationship between the January 6er and the father? Because how can the January 6er just pick up the phone and call the father? There's some type of relationship there. Now, finding this extended clip, it's the black man who has the relationship with the father, and that's who made the phone call. And now the black man who's a Trump supporter, who's a MAGA nut, who's a friend to the victim's father, is going back and forth with a MAGA nut January 6er, who also has a buddy that's a MAGA nut black man. And they're all battling over this kid and what happened. The January 6er wants to use the victim to further his narrative and to push him up out there in the political world. The father is like, no, you will not use my son. The two black men are battling out because this one is protecting the father of the victim, and this one is protecting the MAGA nut who's running for Senate. Baby, this is crazy. It's all buffoonery. And the two black men involved are a part of Kunesian Nation. And you got two kids in the midst of this while they are doing clownery. One has gone on to glory for trying to bully another kid, and that kid felt threatened. And so he responded by taking out the victim. This is crazy. Also, the father of the victim, his name is Jeff Metcalf. He showed up to the press conference that the parents of Carmelo Anthony was having, and he had to be escorted out. I don't know what happened because I'm not going to look at the press conference, because those grieving parents, they are grieving because they could possibly be losing their son. We know how the justice system views black men. They are a threat, and they are not allowed to protect themselves when it comes to white children. This is crazy. This is crazy. Carmelo Anthony, he is out on bail, $250,000 bail. He has been fitted with a bracelet, an ankle monitor. Yeah. His parents are being threatened online. And I'm sure now the parents of the victim are being threatened because that January 6er, that insurrectionist, this is what he put out on social media. I'm not going to mince my words. White weakness and submission is why Austin died. Jeff Metcalf is the problem. So now he's attacking the father of the victim. Austin Metcalf's father is more outraged at me for standing up against the violent, abusive black culture that killed his son. Now, I'm sure this Jake Lang, if he's running in your district, people understand who he is. He is out here inciting hateful violence, using hateful rhetoric to try to get himself into office. Okay? Then he is at the actual degenerate murderer and the family that is dancing on Austin's grave. Well, we've always said that Donald Trump publicly said he loves the poorly educated. And the way that this tweet is constructed, Jake Lang is a part of the poorly educated. He goes on to say, next up, he'll hand his daughter over to be raped in front of the world by the same monsters that killed his son. Stand for something or fall for anything. And he signs his tweet with Jake Lang, January 6er, along with his prison ID. This hateful person who's using hateful rhetoric and wants to use a dead child to propel him into the Senate. If he's running in your district, know who this man is and vote against him. And if that black man rises up to try to run against this man, vote against his ass too, because he's full of buffoonery and circus and clown behavior too.
Baby, this guy is so struggling to find a friend right now. So this guy right here is Jake Long. Who is Jake Long? He is a Proud Boy, and he is one of the super Proud Boys who was a January 6er. Yep, he's one of those. Now, he's currently on his way to being one of the most hated men in America right now, and I'm gonna be honest, the list is long, so kudos to you, my guy. But that phone right there, this black phone, the person on the other end of that phone is Austin McCaff's father. Austin McCaff is the white boy who was killed at that situation at the school by the boy Carmelo. Let's not get into too deep in many details of what happened, but that's what's going on. So he's on the phone with Austin's daddy talking about will you help me use your son as a means to show the destruction that is being caused in this country by that group of people. Pretty much is what he said. I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but that's pretty much what happened. And Austin's daddy let him go on and go on and go on his little speech. And then, while on speakerphone, mind you, hit him with the, "Are you done yet?" And the guy's like, "Yeah, I guess." And then he's like, "Good." Basically told him, "Get the fuck off my phone. Get off my phone and stop using my son as a means to another race war." And you know what this guy had the audacity to say to a grieving father? Because regardless of whatever happened with his son, that man is grieving his son. I'm never going to sit here and tell somebody they don't have the right to grieve their child. This half a turd right here is going to tell Austin's daddy that, "Oh, well, since you don't want to, contribute to my cause here, that must be some of your white guilt." But regardless, how sick do you have to be? How sick of a person do you have to be to get on the phone with somebody whose son died? It hasn't even been in a month. It hasn't even been a month. And he's talking about "Oh, yeah, I would really appreciate it if you came on my side while I create a race war in the name of your son." I would have told him to get the fuck off my phone too.
I don't know why Jake Lang thought that he would be able to get up there and publicly disrespect Jeff Metcalf as a man and as a father, and then turn around and ask him to stand with you and support you. If you didn't watch the protest live, here's what Jake said about Jeff Metcalf.
We need healing. We need men of strength. Austin Metcalf's father, you need to be the loudest voice in this movement. You have a responsibility to your son's blood to honor him. You have a responsibility as a father. Where is your Papa Bear mentality?
At some point, Jake Lang and Jeff Metcalf had a conversation. And here's what Jake Lang asked Jeff Metcalf.
Would you be willing to stand by me in a press conference or in an individual interview and talk about this issue that is larger than Austin at this point? God rest the beautiful young man's soul that would have been one of our strongest voices if he was still alive.
Jeff Metcalf wasn't going for it. And here's what he told Jake.
Yes, I am, sir.
Okay, my turn to speak. You are part of the fucking problem, my friend. You're trying to create more race divide than bridging the gap. I do not condone anything you do. You do not have any fucking...
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
My son, let me finish. I give you your time. You take my son's face off your website. I am not associated with you.
You're creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness, sir. You are creating more Austin Metcalfs with your weakness.
You are being weak. I gotta be honest with you about that, sir.
You're being weak. Condemn your son's killer and the culture that caused it.
Hey, Jeff.
The people that are keeping us divided in America don't care who they have to hurt to get what they want to keep the narrative going. If you're with it, you're seen as patriotic. If you are against it, you are labeled a person with white guilt. Notice how when Jeff condemned him and said, "You know what? I don't want to have nothing to do with this. You are the problem." He instantly turned on Jeff and Jeff became an enemy. It was never about justice for Austin. It was never about Carmelo. This was all about Jake and what he could get in that moment. Jeffrey Metcalf was the textbook example of what can be done when people who may be similar to you are perpetuating racism, who are using it as a narrative. You call them out.
That's called white guilt.
No, let it talk.
I'm going to say something directly to the father of Austin Metcalf. It's too late. It is too late. Your child, the one that you're still grieving, is now a martyr. Going to give you a little secret, sir. In the olden days, your son's death would have resulted in the burning down of an entire black town. In the olden days, your son's death would have resulted in a lynching, followed by looting and burning of an entire black town, a black part of town. There's a thing called the Red Summer. Why do you think it happened? Oh, they call them race riots, but they only did that because the insurance company did not want to pay black folks for all the damage that white people did. So they called it a riot. That means anybody could have been involved. It's too late. The narrative is now out there, and there's nothing you can do to get it back. I'm going to say something that might bother you. Allowing your remaining son and your wife to speak on Fox News was one of the biggest mistakes you could have made in this situation. It absolutely is one of the biggest mistakes you've ever made. Because the very moment, your wife and your other son opened their mouth on right-wing news, you lost the narrative. It was a wrap. It was done. It was GG's. It was done like dinner. Because right-wing news looks for shit like what happened to your son. They do. They look for it. They search for it. Take the case of Lincoln Riley, who was killed by an undocumented person. Now, that person was going to prison. That person was going to prison. But instead, they made an act that turned into a law. The father of Lincoln Riley begged people not to use his daughter the way that they did. But by the time his wife, or ex-wife or whatever, was sitting in the dais when Donald Trump made his first speech to Congress, it was too late. It was too fucking late. An entire group of people were labeled based on that. People are being deported illegally because of it. Here on TikTok, there was a page called Remember My People. Do you know what that page consisted of? Stories about stories of white people that lost their lives at the hands of black and brown people. Lincoln Riley was one of them. I'm pretty sure Austin Metcalf will be another. And the racist shit that you see in the comments section of those videos proves my point. The narrative is already escaped you. Do you think Jeff Lang, who's a January 6er and a avowed fucking racist and is trying to mobilize a goddamn white militia to take on black whatever, do you think he gives a shit about your pain? He don't care. Most white mobs don't give a fuck about the reasoning. Sorry, I know it's gonna hurt, but it's true. They don't give a damn about no damn reason. They just want a reason to do it. And then they elected somebody who allows them to be as racist as they possibly can be. And why? Why? These people won everything. They have control of Congress. They have control of the Supreme Court. They have the presidency. They have the vice presidency. Look at the people that they celebrate. Kyle Rittenhouse got a hero's welcome at CPAC. A hero's welcome. There is nothing in that boy's life that would warrant him going to the Conservative Political Action Committee or conference except murdering 2 people. And they treated him like a hero. Daniel Penny choked Jordan Neely to death. The court said he did nothing wrong. He got a chance to sit with the president-elect and the vice president-elect at a football game, a college football game. Treated him like a hero. Daniel Perry in Texas killed a man. He was convicted, but then got a pardon from Governor Greg Abbott. There's the narrative. There's the narrative. Somebody is going to try to harm Carmelo Anthony. And they will be doing it in your son's name. They are organizing white militias and racist groups in your son's name. It's because you didn't take control of this. You didn't. You did not take any control of this whatsoever. Allowing your wife, and I mean allowing, because if all of you are grieving, maybe y'all all should have came out as a united front, but you didn't. You didn't. Your wife and your son go on Fox News. Fox News that makes its money off of giving out disinformation and veiled racism and xenophobia. Why would you go there? Why would you not have a press conference? Do you remember the little kid that was killed in Springfield, Ohio, when an undocumented Haitian person ran into their bus? It was an accident. It was a fucking accident. And the person is in prison. But did that stop J.D. Vance and Donald Trump and everybody involved in the Trump campaign from bringing up that child? The father of that kid in Springfield had to literally tell those people to stop using his child because racism is always bubbling up. Xenophobia always seems to bubble up. In the old days, people burned towns down, murdered hundreds of people, looted, burned, bombed all of these places because a white girl said a black guy raped her, or a white girl said a black guy touched her, or a white girl said a black guy did anything. Emmett Till died because of that. Here it is in the technological age, but that racism is still there. At some point, you could have taken control of the narrative, but you chose not to. You chose not to. You chose not to look at this as a tragedy involving 2 young men whose lives are forever changed. One is no longer here. The other one has to live with this, live with the actions that he's taken. Now, I feel a way about Carmelo Anthony. You feel a different way about Carmelo Anthony. We can have a disagreement about that, but you're not going to see me organizing black militias or anything like that. Do you know why? Because it's not my narrative to make, nor is it my narrative to exploit. And make no mistake about it, Jeff Lang is only the beginning. He's just out and open with the shit. There are hundreds of white men and women that are ready to destroy black folk over your son. And now, much like Lincoln Riley, your child's a martyr, and there's nothing you can do about it. I'm sorry to say, the death of your son is going to make race a problem and make racists emboldened. And you can't stop it.
It's crazy to me how everyone in Texas is all about stand your ground and self-defense until that person doesn't look like me. This case is racially charged, and stick with me here. If the roles were reversed, if Carmelo Anthony was 220 pounds with his twin brother, picking on a white kid, putting hands on a white kid, and he got unalived, y'all would say that he got exactly what was coming to him, and if he would have kept his hands to himself, he would still be here today. You can't tell me that race isn't a thing because it's in my TikTok comments, and I've seen hundreds of comments on Facebook. So if you flip this scenario and Carmelo Anthony was the aggressor in this situation and your opinion changed, you are racially biased. And to the white people in my comments calling me a white savior, God forbid I have empathy. If you're RICist, just say that and move on. In my last video, I said I didn't know why Carmelo Anthony was sitting under that tent. Turns out it started raining, and Carmelo got permission from the coach. That's not even his school. He got permission from a coach to sit under that tent. Granted, it's free seating, but he got specific permission. And don't get me wrong, it's absolutely tragic that Austin lost his life. His parents lost their son. No parent should have to ever lose their kid. But it makes me think, what would have happened if Austin and Hunter would have left Carmelo alone and not talked to him? Not approached him, not instigated a situation and then escalated it by putting hands on him. Because y'all want to say, oh, it's not self-defense. Austin and his brother are 220-pound football players, and Carmelo was 130 pounds. If you can't visualize that, I'm 180. I got 50 pounds on the kid. Not only were they both in his face, but one of them put hands on him. He was scared. I feel like Austin and Hunter were looking for trouble because if they were really so aggravated by this kid sitting there for whatever reason, they would have gotten an adult to remove him. They wouldn't have approached him, talked shit, and put hands on him. I'll probably get crucified for this, but I don't care. What's right is right, what's wrong is wrong.
This is all I got from this video. And what is life without, like, how are they supposed to survive without black people, without black people's trauma? Because even in the midst of all this going on, Carmelo Anthony and Austin's court case and all that, still a white man that was a product of generations, right, is actually running for a position in government, and at the same time trying to use people that look like me as to run for his political whatever that he is running. And sincerely speaking, like Sister Tabitha said, if you live where he is contesting, please make sure you people do not vote for him. Let him go and continue where he stopped. I mean, he is not even supposed to be among us moving around and walking freely. But because you all know who they voted for, they got him out. And he is already in street. That is to tell you the privilege. When they talk about the privilege and they tell you they do not have privilege, this is one of them. A product of January 6th is out there moving around freely and in street already looking for a position to vie for in government office. Now you're telling me it's okay. I love the fact that Jeff, the father of Austin, blasted him immediately. I don't care. It's only someone that does not have foresight that will look at this and not know that this is somebody that is about to make politics with maybe with your problem or with your ordeal and all that. And they are going to pose like people that are ready to support you and all that. And sometimes, am I not seeing black people around that man? Is that not what are those people not black people, or I am not seeing clearly? It looks like some people really do not understand how. I just don't get it, but I hope that is not what I saw. Maybe I saw wrong, but I am just going to leave it at that. Yeah. And the fact that he is also using that young man's picture on his website for his racist agenda. See, let me tell you all something. When people do not like you, they will do anything, or they will look for every way they can to make sure that they soil you. And that is what he's about to use his racist agenda to come back at people that look like me. Like, why would those people do something like this and get away with it? When this is somebody that, what did he do? that is not even supposed to be living, like he's supposed to still be locked up. But your Mr. or Agent Orange actually released them, and they are already in the world moving around and looking for their next victim or their next person that they will. I am gonna draw the curtain here. See you all in my next video. Bye for now.